Greetings and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Dungeons 2: A Game of Winter. Alright then, we have reunited evil. The demons, the horde and the undead smooshed together once again into one fighting force. Let's get on with it.
The absolute evil was reunited, and once again it hurried to New King's Ending, there to destroy Melty-Sand and her miserable little altar of rebirth. The final battle was at hand.
And so it is. Now, this is probably my second favorite level of this game. Not so much because it's difficult, because it most certainly is not. This is more of a reward for all the hard work you've had to go through in the whole of the expansion. And it's a well-earned reward.
Well, the time had finally come. Finally. God, how many times have I already said that? Doesn't matter. This time it really is the end. The absolute evil stood before New King's Ending. The Alliance had built a new capital with the same old name. Here, Melty-Sand had built the new altar of rebirth in the name of her fire god. As long as this danger still existed, wave after wave of heroes would launch themselves against evil. The altar had to be destroyed. Then, too, there was, of course, Melty-Sand herself. The High Priestess of the Fire God had turned out to be a worthy opponent and a threat to the absolute evil. If she were to die, the Alliance's fate would be sealed. But as long as the altar stood, she too would always be revived.
You think you've won? You have no idea. The altar is protected by the fire god's sacred stones. Their barrier is impenetrable to your abominations. Forward, Alliance! Destroy them! Have no fear. The altar will save you.
Good point. Before the pondering evil could carve its way to the altar, it would first have to destroy the barrier. For this, it had to grab the fire god by its... it had to destroy the fire god's two sacred stones. Got it? Let me repeat that for you. First, destroy the crystals. Second, destroy the altar. Third, destroy Melty-Sand.
Yep. No dungeon building, no complicated maneuvers or complicated schemes. Just a rampage.
New King's Ending. It was happy to be whole again. This division, had been nothing but one giant headache. All the while it was throwing itself into battle here, its creatures were diligently producing mana that trickled steadily into it over time. Moreover, it also had access to the faction's spells, the best of them. We don't need to waste time on piddling little generic spells. These few Alliance troops had no chance against the absolute evil.
No, they do not. I have the left and right hand of the devil, mighty blow, spike wave, freeze, and re-raise the dead, as well as de-desecrate. So we're very powerful, alongside, of course,
the gate
spells.
To New King's Ending was secured by a consecrated object. Honestly, it made the absolute evil giggle. Or, it would have giggled if it had ever made a sound. Anyway, of course, that was no obstacle. After all, it had merged with Barthas, and could also use his fantastic skills. The place was desecrated. The gate to the city opened. With determined tread, the absolute evil marched forward.
Yeah. Just deal with the enemies as they come in. Desecrate as I go. Now, I'm not totally invulnerable, of course, but still.
The cemetery profaning evil has just desecrated one of the aforementioned, thus dragging some undead from their graves. Massacring evil stomped another group of defenders into the dirt.
Alright, let's top off. And then move further into the city.
A cemetery has been desecrated and now calls the undead from their graves.
Make sure we get all the spawning houses. And all the catapults, of course.
Absolute evil had desecrated a cemetery. Undead rose from their graves and began to attack the Alliance.
No, I don't have to manage these undead, luckily. Right, let's kill these guys off because they bother me.
The fire god will protect us.
No, he absolutely will not.
These few Alliance troops had no chance against the absolute evil.
Yeah, so much so that I don't even...
The absolute evil reached one of the inner gates of New King's Ending. The Alliance had barricaded it well. It would be difficult to break through there. But then, out of nowhere, more precisely out of the fog of war, a death bolt appeared. The absolute evil made a mental note to rename the creature sometime soon. The death bolt shot at a small stash of dynamite, which by happy coincidence was stored here, and blew a passage through the rock. Through it poured a flood of horde creatures, who willingly cut their lord a path. Lo and behold, the gate was open.
My god will destroy you!
Well, he better get on that then. Because right now it seems like I'm winning. You know, I might as well make use of these spells before I completely forget I have them, because I don't really need them.
The absolute evil had now conquered another large area of New King's Ending. it decided to let the Horde secure the area. One may consider it unwise, but the Barfus in the Absolute Evil wanted to confront Melty Sand alone. Stupid idea. The all-destroying evil reached the large square, the last bastion before Melty Sand's retreat. The Alliance had positioned their last great army here. Demons were supposed to attack it, but the portals were kept closed by Alliance mages. With the demons' help, the place would be overrun in a flash. The cunning evil knew what to do.
Right. All the portals secure. Let's move on.
The fire... Ha! You may have made it this far, but that won't help you. The fire god's sacred stones protect this place. The altar is safe.
This woman has no idea. It somehow never occurred to Melty Sand that the sacred stones unfortunately lay virtually unprotected and could therefore be destroyed. So, Absolute Evil marched in.
Wait, what are you doing? You can't attack the stones! Soldiers, keep it back!
The Absolute Evil reached the first of the two sacred stones that made up the altar's protective barrier. It would require a couple of stout blows and a modicum of brute force.
Stop it! The stone must not be destroyed! You may have destroyed one of the stones, but the second is well guarded, and its power alone is sufficient to maintain the barrier. The good shall triumph.
Let me just say, that was just the first blow, and the second is right behind it.
Heroes of the Alliance, defend the sacred stone. It must not fall. The altar must be...
Melty Sand actually believed that she and her miserable defenders could stop the unstoppable evil. How cute. Unimpressed, the Absolute Evil began to destroy the second sacred stone.
Yeah, there seems to be some flaws with the defensive plan of Melty Sand here, I think.
You cannot win.
Oh, I assure you I can. I've already done it. I've already done it multiple times. In my mind. And actually, because I did finish the game, so, you know. This is just fun.
The second sacred stone fell victim to the Absolute Evil's blows. The path to the altar was free. It was time for the Alliance leftovers to wet their pants and pray to all the gods they had ever heard of.
Remain steadfast, men. The altar is still in our possession and active. We can still win. For the fire god!
Yeah, somehow I don't think so.
The area was secured, the altar almost within grasp. The Absolute Evil directed its demonic subjects to guard the place, and proceeded on alone. If you want something done right, do it yourself, thought the Absolute Evil.
My god will destroy you!
Move. Well, this will be going a little bit harder now. I mean, I do regenerate, but still... Can't really kill Melty Sand with just 50 hit points. And I don't have any healing potions anywhere nearby. Well, if I can reach there, perhaps. Don't really have any regeneration spells. But Melty Sand just needs to die for a bit.
What does not kill me makes me stronger.
Yeah, well, you'll never get strong enough. Alright, much better. Alright. While she is resurrecting, it's time for me to take advantage of the situation. You know, once I get back over there. The ultimate evil is quite strong against all these minions, but not quite so formidable against Melty Sand, unfortunately. And unfortunately also quite slow.
Through the fire, I have been reborn.
Of course you have.
Protect us. I shall return from the fire.
Yeah, but not anytime soon. So, let's actually deal with the problem now. Let's desecrate this. Right. Enough with the resurrecting already.
I am back. My god will destroy you! Stronger.
Right. Well, just keep on going for a bit longer. we just need to take care of the altar. Now that I'm not gonna get distracted.
The first cracks appeared in the altar. Excellent! That's the stuff!
Protect the altar! It must not be destroyed!
The altar was almost destroyed, but only almost. Come on, finish the stupid thing off!
Through the fire.
Oops! That was it for the absolute evil. Somehow, I had expected a bit more, because that was pretty pitiful. But hey, let's not argue so close to the end. In fact, the absolute evil wasn't dead at all, but had only slipped on its long coat, or something like that, whatever. It got right back up and kept on fighting.
No, this cannot be. You will pay for this. I will destroy you.
It was done. The altar of rebirth was in ruins, and Meltisand lay next to it on the floor, dead. The absolute evil had triumphed. Excellent work, my friend. I've read that the developers have really raised the level of difficulty. You can be proud of yourself. I'm not going to say any more here because that all comes in the outro sequence, but it was a lot of fun. See you in part 3. Oh, wait. I wasn't supposed to say that. I mean, maybe we'll hear from one another again someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meltisand was defeated. The Red Priestess hit the ground with a long, drawn-out and breathed her last. Since the ultimate evil had already laid waste to the altar of rebirth, it could be certain that this time her demise was now permanent. Moreover, never again would a hero of the Alliance rise from the dead. They would henceforth simply lie there and rot once they had been struck down. It was a glorious victory, through and through. Not only was the absolute evil restored and had united the evil nations, it had also handed the do-gooders an annihilating defeat. Horde, demons, and undead cheered their champion. An era of terror began for the kingdoms of the Alliance, an eternal reign of evil. But would evil's rule truly last forever? After all, every evil tends to attract heroes with more luck than skill, who then defeat it. Should the reign of evil already be counting its days, then? You know how it is. All good things come in threes.
And that is it. Dungeons 2, A Game of Winter. Quite a fun expansion, really. The undead faction is different enough from the other factions that it does make for a different playstyle. Humor has not let up at all. I think they are quite adept now at figuring out how to write puns and generally take pokes at other games in the industry. And even media beyond that. I mean, this will definitely not be the last time we will hear a Game of Thrones reference or Lord of the Rings. Whatever fantasy production you can think of that has been, publicly available for some time. I have enjoyed my time with Dungeons 2, even though it does have flaws. I mean, it's never a perfect game. Sometimes the pacing does feel a bit slow, especially in early levels where gold collection is so darn slow. I mean, And then of course there is the ever-present narrator who always eggs you on to do things that you're not quite ready to do at any point, really. Or at the very least, you'll do at your own damn pacing. Because this game doesn't feel like it's meant to be played ultra fast with the hyper active strategies and all that sort of stuff. This is a game made for leisure, to do as you see fit. And that's how I play it, at the very least. You may have different ideas, you may even have better trap setups, or even better micromanagement for your minions once you leave the go into the overworld, for instance. The overworld also feels a little bit lackluster, but you know, it is what it is. And you still get to kill heroes and be evil, and you do feel like you are actually doing evil, because we are doing some pretty heinous stuff in this game. And I hope that it'll continue in Dungeons 3. Well, I know it will, but, you know, you will have to wait and see. Although, for point of reference, really, just to show that I wasn't entirely being facetious and all that, let's start a quick skirmish game with, and only starting it, not playing it actually. Come on, game, load up. As you can see, no bosses, so you really have to make do with whatever what you get, and that's basically just those skeletons and all that. But that's fine. It's possible, it's doable. Not gonna do it on this map because the penguins are effing hard to fight. Anyways, this has been me, Leo, your Dark Lord, your Underlord, really. I have enjoyed my time with Dungeons 2, and hopefully you have enjoyed my time with it as well. See you all next time in Dungeons 3.